Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how you can create this simulation in Blender. So let's get started. First let's delete the light. Now select the cube and scale it to 70. Go to the physics properties and click on fluid, and under type select domain. Now let's check adaptive domain, and after we've done that, let's set the resolution divisions. It's very important for this to check adaptive domain first, because otherwise Blender might crash. It did crash on me while I was testing this, so yeah. So let's set this to 1000. You can also go lower, of course, depending on your PC. Now check dissolve and noise, and also check is resumable, and set it to modular. Now add a UV sphere and go to the particle properties and click on the plus sign. Now if we press play, we have something like this. So let's set the number to 10,000, the end to 250, and the lifetime I'm going to leave that at 50 and set the lifetime randomness to 1. Now let's add a force field with a power of 40.4. So let's go here and 40.4. And also set the flow to 1. Now add a harmonic force field. Set the strength to 144.5. Set the rest length to 5. And now add a magnet with a power of 25. And now if we press play, we have something like this. Now let's go back to the physics properties, fluid again, and set the type to flow. Set it from smoke to fire and smoke, and flow behavior to inflow. And now go down here, and on the flow source select particle system, and now select the one that we just created. Now let's save just to be sure. I'm going to call it tutorial. Now let's select the domain, and here press bake data. This will probably take a few minutes at least, and after that's done we'll have to bake the noise. Now let's go down to noise and click on bake again. Now let's save again and go back to frame 1. And as you can see, this is what it looks like so far. Now one more thing that I forgot to do earlier is to go to the particle properties and go to render and disable show emitter. This means that we won't see the sphere in the render. Now let's go to shading and go to rendered view. I'm going to use cycles and set the world to black. Now select the domain, delete the principled BSDF, sorry, and add a principled volume. Control Shift to connect it. Now add 2 math nodes. Connect the value to the emission strength and set the bottom value to 150. Set it to multiply and duplicate it. Connect the value to the value and add 3 color ramps. Connect this one to the emission color, this one to the color on the top, to the value on the top, and this one on the bottom. Now add a noise texture. Set the scale to 8 and the detail to 9.2. Connect the factor to the factor and drag it in like this, somewhere around here. Now add an attribute node. Type in heat and connect the factor to the factor here and here. Drag the black in like this. Make the white black and click on the plus sign and make it white. Now let's bring this in closer, and this one as well. Now go down here and set it to HSL and counterclockwise. Now make the black blue and make the white red. Now drag the blue in like this and drag the red in like this. I think something like this looks good. Now go back to layout mode and make sure you're in rendered view, and let's set up the camera. I'm going to put it somewhere around here. I think this looks good. Press Ctrl Alt 0 and select the camera, GZZ to move it like this, and maybe move it down a little and rotate it XX like this. Move it down again, and I think something like this looks good. Now let's go to the render properties. I'm going to render at 128 samples with denoise enabled. If you have an NVIDIA GPU, you can use optics or OpenImage denoise. If you don't, you can only use OpenImage denoise, but I do have one and I prefer optics, so I'm going to use that. Now go to compositing, and to get this set up you need to enable use nodes and add a denoise node. If you don't have these outputs, then you need to enable denoising data. And also make sure it is set to accurate. Now let's go to the output properties and select a folder. I have already created one for that. You can create new folders up here. So I'm going to select the folder, and I'm going to call the files rendered images. And if you put an underscore after the name, Blender is going to automatically assign numbers to the frames. Now let's save again and go to render animation. Once it's done rendering, let's close this window and hover over the file location and press Ctrl C. Now go up here to video editing and click on video editing. Make sure you're on frame 1. Shift A, image sequence, and now paste in the location and delete the name of the file. Press A, hit enter. Now under file format, set it to FFmpeg video, encoding container to MPEG-4, and the output quality to high quality. And now if we hit render, Blender will compile the images into a video. So that's it with the tutorial. I hope you liked it. Please let me know what I should do next, and I'll see you next time.